Welcome to Big Blue Breakdown on this Thursday night. Usually going on Wednesday. We're moving over here to Thursday. Your host, as always, Matthew Lyle. I'm joined by Buck Nasty the 7th and Christopher King of the Hill. How are we doing today, guys?
Doing good, man. Doing good. When did he jump from the 3rd to the 7th? Is that a new thing, or?
If you have to ask, you're not ready.
Yeah.
I got you. If I have to ask, I can't afford it.
If you have to ask,
exactly.
You'll never know. Yeah.
Okay, well,
if you have to ask, you're not a part of the. You're just not worthy. So
I got you, man. So next week he'll be like the 12th.
No.
If he passed the test.
Yeah.
There's still things to be done.
Yeah.
There's still things to be done.
I don't even want to know.
The Cats still have to win 16 more games.
Indeed. I need them to win more than 15. I need them to win quite a bit more. So here we are. We're going to start with that big news of the day. Actually, we started working on it a little earlier. Looks like it kind of resolved itself. Actually, you can't really put it to bed because in this day and age, you say one thing, you do another the next day. Our offensive coordinator, Eddie Gran, reported to have offered to go be the offensive coordinator of Georgia. Last report came out, said, he's going to stay at Kentucky. We're just going to start here with the blanket question. What's our thoughts on the situation? Start with you, Chris.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, man, at first I was a little scared because I obviously didn't want him to go. But I mean, it honestly didn't take maybe an hour or so after the news had dropped that Georgia threw him an offer that he said he was staying at Kentucky. So, I mean, if you ask me, either Kentucky offered him more money or he sees a better future here than he does at Georgia. I don't know. I'm for one, I'm glad he stayed.
What about you, Mike?
So there are several things that come to mind here. For one, I am in a little chat group with my wife and her brother and some friends and all of that stuff. And there are 7 people in this texting group that we have, and 5 of those 7 people were wanting to see him go. And kind of what we alluded pre-show here, 60 to 70% of the UK fans want him gone because of the way that our offense performed in that middle stretch of the season when we were kind of struggling to figure out what we wanted to do. So with that being said, Matthew, you also alluded to it pre-show here. What are we as UK fans not seeing what he has to offer? And we've seen it many, many times. Just because somebody turns down a job or takes a job, that doesn't mean 24 hours that passes. He is not at USC or some other place, or maybe even taking a head coaching job somewhere. A Temple is still looking for their head coach. So it's a very good that he did turn Georgia down, because I do not want to face a former coach year in and year out. It just I don't know. It sucks for one, and 2. He definitely knows how to beat the Cats. Because he's been coaching with Bob Stoops for X amount of years. So I'm glad to see him stay, but I'm also kind of upset he's staying at Locke as well, because I am a part of that 60% that I kind of wanted a upgrade in the offense, maybe open it up. But then at hindsight, when you have a back like Snell in the backfield, I would also be giving him the ball 80% of the time too. So it's kind of a catch-22. Let's see what he does this year moving forward, if he's worth keeping here. But obviously Georgia is seeing something, and probably other teams are seeing something too. So do not be surprised if more offers start to surface here in the next week or two. With the signing deadline for these high school kids coming to an end. They a team like a USC still needs an OC. If he's gotten an offer from Georgia, why not get an offer from USC too? You never know. So I'm happy he's staying, but I'm also not happy that he's staying too. So it's like I'm kind of on the fence either way.
So a couple of things. Well, first thing, I think he's done with the Georgia talk, and the only reason I say that is because you alluded to it with the recruiting classes. You have to have somebody there. You have to have a direction early and quick if you want to go into these recruits' houses and say, hey, look, this is where we're going. So if you're a school like Georgia who's trying to go against Bama and Clemson in recruiting, you can't go a long time without an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Once you hear the no, you're instantly going on to the next person. So, but to your point, too, he could easily take one of those smaller head coaching jobs. The Temple job is open. There's going to be other ones that become available. And, if Lane Kiffin hops on a train somewhere, FAU is going to become available. Some of these smaller schools, I don't know who's going to replace Neil Brown at Southern Miss. My thing to Kentucky fans is, and here's the spot A that as a whole Kentucky's in right now. Kentucky is on the cusp of something really special and really great as far as our program goes, but it takes a little luck. So let's just say he takes this job. You're not guaranteed. You're not to Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, Florida, where you're guaranteed a offensive guru next year. If Eddie Graham ever leaves or when he leaves, because he's going to. That's what happens when you sit at the big kid table. You get good coaches, you put up 10 wins, and somebody comes and vultures your coaches. That's life of sitting at the big kid table. But you're still Kentucky. And next year, we're going to be really relying on our offense. You don't want to whip. You don't want to bring in a really, really, really bad offensive coordinator. And you can say what you want about Eddie Gran, and people on the Kentucky pages were saying, bye, get him out of here. Georgia's lost. We'll definitely beat Georgia if they get him. And you're not really looking – you're looking at the big picture, but you're not looking at the details inside that picture. Yeah. Eddie Gran, yes, is an offensive coordinator, but he is a running back guru and running back at heart. He was with Auburn when they had the Ronnie Brown, Cadillac Williams teams that broke all those records. Mm-hmm. He was in Florida State when they were winning national championships with that heavy run game. He comes to little old Kentucky and really gets a lot out of Boom Williams and Benny Snell. Now, Benny had a good chip on his shoulder, but Kentucky's had a good string of some running backs here lately.
And you had A.J. Rose coming up, too.
Right.
I mean, he is just
so
he's
got A.J. Rose. Yeah, and let's not forget JoJo Kemp. So imagine a school like Georgia, who seems to have running backs as far as they go. I mean, I can know Sean Moreno all the way to Isaiah Crowell, all the way to Todd Gurley. I mean, every year there's new running backs, and they have a quarterback like Jake Fromm. So you bring in a running back guru to a team that loves to run the ball, and you got a really good quarterback. That scared me.
Yeah.
And then knowing that had he accepted the job, we have to go into Athens next year with a weak secondary. I was nervous. And I don't know what Eddie Gran's future is. I don't know if he's going to be a bust or a boom at a big school. But I'll tell you what, I didn't want to face him in Georgia. He knows this defense, like you said, Mike, and we're already rebuilding our defense. Mm-hmm. So, yes, is Eddie Gran, is he Chip Kelly? And you also have to remember, Neil Brown came in and said he wanted Air Raid 2.0. So Neil Brown went out and recruited small, quick receivers. Now you get Eddie Gran to come in, and he wants to be more of a run-heavy offense. It didn't really fit. I think you kind of got it to work this year, and then, you got to question how good really Terry Wilson is. I think Terry Wilson's got some growing to do, but I don't want to put that all on Eddie Gran. So I just caution fans, and I know you're torn, Mike, so and this isn't directed to you, but the fans that are just cut and dry, get him out of here. I don't want to look at his face. I hate him. He's the worst offensive coordinator ever. I caution you, you can do much worse.
Well, just speaking in those those fans in general here, like I am going to recirculate from the chat that we've had, the last few days when this, I believe it was last night when we first started hearing about Georgia really pursuing after him. We see all these high-flying offenses, like you see the Kansas City Chiefs and you see the Chargers, and then you see Alabama putting up 50, 60 points like every game. And then you see UK struggling to pass the ball 8 yards down the field. So I think that was the largest issue that they had is like, why are we not scoring 28 plus points like each game? Why are we running the ball 80% of the time? Why can't Terry throw a 10-yard hitch? So like I think the limitations of touchdown Terry was a reflection of the offensive coordinator in most fans' eyes, I think.
So, and I get that, and I'm sure that there's no one right or wrong answer. I'm sure Terry Wilson's lack of confidence, because I've seen him pass on some wide open passes that he could have kept slants and curls. He just he throws late, or he throws just not forceful enough. He don't want to zip it in there. But then again, I've seen him throw some beautiful corner routes. He threw a touchdown to Lynn Bowden. I want to say the Missouri game, maybe, or no, the Vanderbilt game. That touchdown to Lynn Bowden was Kyler Murray to a whatever his last name is. To a turn the ball over. It looks good, but then there's a time when it doesn't.
So,
and what I would for my last point on Terry, what I would caution fans to look at schools in the SEC, and I'm only dealing with the SEC because I think you almost have to recruit to win against that type. Look at the team in the SEC that has recruited heavily in the spread offense, and it's been Arkansas and Ole Miss. When it works, when you have that, like you alluded to, Mike, when you have that Texas Tech, when you have that Patrick Mahomes style quarterback, it's great. But when you don't, there's nothing for you to do. There's no run game for you to rely on. Look at Ole Miss. Ole Miss lost to a lot of teams by allowing 60 points because if your passing game isn't running, you haven't recruited, coached, and developed a running game. So it's 3 and out, and you've killed about 10 seconds. So now you've got to punt the ball to your tired defense. So, yes, I wish at times we would have opened up, let Terry do more. I think Terry played really well. You even suggested it, Mike. Terry played really well when he wasn't thinking, when it was almost no huddle, when it was bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
But if you try to do that every drive, like Ole Miss does, and it doesn't work, you're going to get embarrassed 70-20, because that's how that works. Because when you when another team, especially in the SEC, gets the ball 5 times in a quarter, and your defense is tired, that's not good. Yeah. So just be careful, because that could always be us.
And I think we're going to hit on this later in the show here, but maybe touchdown Terry just isn't our guy, or maybe we just relied on Snell so much that Terry didn't really want to pass the ball down the field to turn the ball over, because he knew the very next play he could give it to like Snell for 8 or 9 yards like every time. So
yeah, man, you're right. I think that might have hurt a little bit of his development too. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, it's kind of like that team. The team basically was Benny's team. I mean, Benny Snell is our best player. Was our best player. So our offense, it's going to be a lot of Benny Snell. I mean, maybe he just got in that mindset where, hey, if I make a mistake, if I throw a pick, whatever, we're going to start running the ball heavily, handing it off to Benny. Maybe that hurt him. Maybe that hurt some of his development. Because, I mean, if you watch games where they're not, I mean, the Louisville game, for instance, that was probably his best complete game. I mean, he made great passes, really good reads.
There was also no pressure on that game either.
Exactly. I mean, exactly. When you're playing against teams like that, the defense isn't that good. I mean, yeah, you see him step up, but they're all going to be like that. He's got to get in that mindset that I guess every defense is kind of the same. Well, not the same, but he I don't know, man. You could see spots of greatness where he's good. He's a good player. I mean, he's not complete yet, I guess, if that makes any sense.
And I'm going to use this to segue to, like Mike said, into the next topic. And this is the part where I really get frustrated having this conversation with a lot of fans about Terry Wilson because, once again, there's no benefit of the doubt. There's not saying just you guys in general. There's typically no benefit of the doubt. And I think he'll get it. People are so quick to throw out the human nature. You have to remember, this kid played high school, went to Oregon, set out that year because he didn't get the starting job as a freshman. The next year he set out again, played 0 football, then goes to a community college that really probably paled into comparison to any team he played this year, other than probably Murray State. If even that, Murray State would probably beat that community college. And then he comes to the SEC. What was our even expectations? I mean, obviously we think the saying touchdown Terry means we're going to get some touchdowns, but you're essentially getting a freshman. Because a lot of times, and Mike, you know this just in coaching high school and keeping eyes, and you've been really all over the country, kind of go from Kansas to here. A lot of times, some of these high school teams are better than some of these community colleges. So he's essentially a freshman in the SEC with a good run game. So we haven't really got to see him be him.
So let me answer your question from like a fan standpoint. When you see a person transferring in from Oregon, from me as a just a college football fan and like in general, you think of Oregon back in early 2000s when they were scoring those 65-plus points a game. They were always ranked in the top 5. They were going to the Fiesta Bowl. They were beating the Kansas State Cats there in 15 minutes when it was already 44-6 or something like that. So when you get a transfer from Oregon to a school like Kentucky that is historically not a very good football team, you are kind of expecting a player, a quarterback, to be basically a instant impact on that team. Yes, we do know he sat out that 2 years and he played at a community college, but you still expect him to come in and make an instant impact. And like overall, he had a okay season, but I don't think he made that instant impact that a lot of fans were expecting him to make.
Well, so I think that's another problem that I think everybody has to look internally. If you do a little homework, you know that Oregon recruited guys that wasn't 4 and 5 stars. They like to recruit 3 stars, but was fast and ran an offense that a lot of people couldn't stop at that time. If you also look, the year he was a freshman at Oregon, had he started, that was the team that missed the postseason.
Right.
That was not the team. That was not one of those Chip Kelly teams. That was not one of the teams that was competing for the national championship. That was after Marcus Mariota left, and they really just fell apart. That was after the rest of the country said, hey, we know what you're doing, and we can do it too. And everybody just started doing it, just doing what they were doing, but with better athletes. And that's the only thing I say. I get what you're saying, Mike, to the common fan. Oh, Oregon's a good program. Oregon's a top 5 school. Oregon is up at the top. If we're getting one of their players, we got to be special. Well, all you got to look at is Matt Elam. Matt Elam chose us over Alabama. And the dude came here and was a dud pretty much.
Yeah.
So I just think you got to be careful doing this, and you got to be careful putting those expectations on there. So we talked quarterback. I don't really think we're the favorite to land any other quarterback other than the 2 freshmen that come in. But there are 2 big names that are on the market. Somebody, depending on where you put them, has flirted the 2 names together. Like I said, I personally don't think there's a good chance for Kentucky to get the Tate kid from Ohio State or Jalen Hurts from Alabama. However, they both are seeking new options, and Jalen Hurts can play right away. What do you think our chances are to even be in the discussion for either one of them? We'll start with you, Mike.
So with Hurt, I think since it is a inter conference switch, it has to be okayed by both schools and the SEC, and I don't think Alabama wants to see Kentucky stealing one of their guys. So I'm going to put that at a 0% chance.
Well,
what's that?
Just to clarify on that, they passed a rule since he has graduated. He does not have to have anybody's okay.
So
just to clarify,
he is graduating in May for sure.
No, he's already graduated.
Oh, he's already graduated
in December. Yeah, he could go
Okay.
to Auburn technically, which would be even worse and be a bigger slap in the face to Alabama than anybody. But if he wanted to, who knows? So
okay, so I was mistaken. I should have fact checked before we started the show. So with that being said, I still think it's only going to be like a 5% chance, just because historically Kentucky is not a very good football school. Yes, Hurt can probably come here and start over Terry or Hoke, and maybe lead us to another 10-win season. But I don't think Mark Stoops is going to go after somebody like that. I think I think Mark Stoops has his guys, and he wants to keep his guys and build on the program that he built this last year. Now as far as Tate goes, I was watching the documentary on Tate actually called QB1, and Tate is a type of player that he has to be the big man on campus at a big school, a big name, that type of atmosphere. And Lexington, Kentucky, I don't think offers what he wants. Like, I think he wants to go to like a LA school or a Miami school or Texas, someplace where football is like life. And unfortunately, Kentucky football is not life. Basketball's life. So, I'm going to leave that down about 10% as well. So very, very low chances on both of those guys. But I did just read that Tate is trying to apply for a hardship thing where he could immediately play next season if it is approved.
Before we get to Chris, my thoughts on those two situations is they're 0% too. And I hate to break anyone's heart, but it is absolutely zero. And for Jalen Hurts, it's for the best. I mean, Jalen, depending on how much you paid attention to Alabama, he really did a lot for that school. I know people are going to look and think he's a distraction because of what his dad said after the national championship game 2 years ago, but he really gave it all. I mean, Saban spoke so highly of him, but I don't think he wants to spend his last year at a place like Kentucky. And Mike, you brought up a great point that last conversation that would fit really good here. Imagine what the fans would think when they think national championship Alabama transfer. Even if he played better than Terry Wilson, we know that hindsight, Jalen Hurts is the guy that manages a really great team, that he put up decent numbers with a really great defense. What's he do when you take that defense away? What does he do when the running backs aren't 5 stars and the receivers aren't 5 stars? His numbers may look a lot like Terry Wilson. Or when the line's not as strong and he's getting sacked or he's trying to scramble and run and fans are getting frustrated because guess what? Their expectations was even higher because they said, oh, we got a national championship winning quarterback from Alabama.
Exactly.
When really that was a team effort. You take away all that talent, he's probably not too much better of a quarterback than Terry Wilson. And I think the fan base would just implode then because of the expectations that would be brought forward. Mm-hmm. And to your point on Tate, I'm right there with you. He seems to be kind of a slow kid. And if he starts losing at Kentucky, which can very easily happen, what happens? When he's losing, but he's not when he wins and he doesn't get the love that you get at Ohio State, but you still get all the negativity when you lose, except there's more opportunities to lose. Mm-hmm. I don't think the kid wants to come here, and I don't even think our fan base would like him. I think we like the idea of a 5-star quarterback, but I don't think we would like the idea of snot-nosed kids catching an attitude with the fan base when we lose.
Yeah, and just before Hill jumps in here, if you guys have watched that documentary of the QB1, he is kind of a D-bag, let's be honest. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay, well, there's no in-between. You either are or you aren't. But he must be because he chose to go up to Ohio State. So he's kind of a little bit of a douchebag, right?
Yeah, that is. Sure.
Yeah.
we don't have the same hatred for Ohio State as you do. But go ahead.
Yeah, I can't stand him. Okay. As far as Jalen goes, I'm with both. I'm totally with Matt. Like, there's zero chance, absolutely no chance that Jalen comes to Kentucky. But it really don't matter, man. Wherever he goes, he's going to do fine. He'll be all right. Tate, it's a little interesting because I mean, if memory serves me right, he committed to come to Kentucky. I know he was an original Washington commit. He's from California, played his high school ball in like Vegas or something like that, right?
Sounds right.
Yeah, he went to Bishop
like
Gorman.
Yeah,
I don't think he ever committed to Kentucky. I mean, I think he was.
Well, he committed to Washington. Sarkisian or whoever the guy he committed to there to go to Washington went somewhere else. So he decommitted from Washington and then decided to go to Ohio State. Got into a little bit of trouble, I believe, and didn't know if he was going to be able to make it or be able to go to Ohio State or not, and threw Kentucky in the mix. I remember seeing his name. I don't know if y'all do. Matt, I'm kind of surprised you don't because you seem to know everything about Kentucky sports. I don't know.
Yeah, his name was around Texas A&M a lot, but I just looked it up because the only two big time commitment, the biggest commitment we ever had here recently that bounced was the Mac Jones kid that committed to Kentucky when he was a 3-star sophomore, but then he balled out his junior and senior year, became a 5-star, and then went to Alabama. That's the only commitment I know that we lost that was that serious. Now, if he was just flirting with us, if he listed us in his top 10, I'd pay that no mind because
it might have
everybody
like that.
Yeah, because these kids love having smoke blown up their what when they're 5-stars by a school like Kentucky because we're important enough to make news, but we're desperate enough to want you bad.
Yeah.
So we're
not important enough to play for us.
Right. So
it's all about what you can offer me.
Yeah.
Right.
So Kentucky's going to call, and Kentucky's going to call you every day and be like, "Hey, man, how you doing? You feeling good? You want to?" But Mark Stoops is going to be at every one of your games, and you love that attention. But at the end of the day, you don't really feel like playing at Kentucky, so you lead them along. As silly as it is, because these are high school kids, it reminds you of dating in high school. You give a girl or a guy so much attention, they're going to think they stand a chance when they don't. You're going with that. Everybody knows who you're taking the prom.
Right. So basically, we're getting friend zoned.
You know what? Yes, Chris. I wish I had a horn in the background. That is the statement. If we had a sponsor, I would say that is like the statement of the show. That is the Big Blue Breakdown statement of the show. Yes, Kentucky gets friend zoned by the football recruit.
That is the $5 big box call of the day, friend zone.
You're right, but still going with Tate. I don't see him coming here. The only reason why I would even kind of give it a shot is years ago I guess he had Kentucky in a top 3 or top 5 or something like that. But no, he's a West Coast kid. He's probably going to end up in a Pac-12 school. That's just my guess.
Well, and like just to add to everything that you guys have said, if Jalen Hurt were to come to Kentucky, this is all hypothetically speaking. He comes to Kentucky. He wins the starting job, leads Kentucky to the SEC championship game versus Alabama, and beats them. Wouldn't that be the ultimate story for him at the end of the day?
That would be, and I mean it's possible, man, because this team this year. I mean, I know we kind of bash on Terry and have things to say, and all kinds of people want to bash on Terry and our offensive coordinator or whatever. But, man, this team won 10 games. We were a win away from meeting Alabama in an SEC title game. I mean, that's big stuff, around these parts because, we're not a football school. That's big stuff for us. And, I mean, he very well could do that. He could come in here. I mean, he doesn't even need to – he could show up to the first practice and throw one ball, and he's going to get the starting job, and he could very well lead a team like this to an SEC championship and a shot at a football playoff. I mean, it could happen. It almost happened this year with what we got now. I mean, it could happen.
I would like his leadership, and I think he would have actually served a lot better had he came this year. Benny Snell in that defense, he does give you that option to win a game. Like he's that good. But next year,
this team would have been scary good. Oh man, this team would have been scary good.
I think it would have went the opposite
year,
way because we would have relied on the passing game so much, and you would have forgot about Snell in the backfield. I think.
No way, man. No way.
Man,
we'd have ran the ball, and all the defenses would have sucked back or would have sucked in. They'd put 8 in the box, and then we'd torture them over the middle, like with.
Honestly, Mike, I think we would have run the ball even more because he's such a big back. If you notice, Terry Wilson, he came out the gate. The first show, we all joked and called him turnover Terry because he had 2 fumbles. Say what you want about Jalen Hurts, he'll throw some picks. He will lose you some yards, but he really don't fumble. He's a big guy. When he starts running downfield, he's a big guy. So I think we've actually ran the ball more. But I don't trust Hurts all that much. I don't think he would have won a national championship this year because I don't think he could have competed with the likes of Clemson and Bama. But I think we beat Texas A&M, and I think maybe we play better.
If we don't lose, I was gonna say we don't lose to Tennessee. That game's not even close.
You know what? Just because I think this would be hilarious, Mike. Here's what I wish would have happened. Jalen Hurts comes here this past season. Mm-hmm. We only lose like 1 or 2 games, and we play Michigan in a big bowl because I think Chris's head would explode.
Yeah.
No, man, not at all. No.
All right, guys.
If Kentucky and Michigan were to ever meet in a football game, it'll probably never happen. But if it was to ever happen, man, I'd be fine with whoever won. I'd be happy.
Who would you be rooting for?
Who would I be rooting for? Ooh,
yeah,
man, that's a tough question.
Because
you know what? To be honest with you, man, to be 100% completely honest with you, and you guys are probably going to tell me that I'm lying, that I'm blowing smoke up your ass, and that you don't believe me, but I probably wouldn't even watch the game. To be honest with you.
That would. I mean, I believe you, but that would be silly.
Well, I know that sounds stupid, but I probably wouldn't even watch the game. Like when Michigan played Kentucky, we played in the tournament a couple years back. I didn't even watch that game.
See, Mike, what are we doing here, man?
I can't root for one. I know it was, but I can't be like, okay, I'm going to root for this team. Then at halftime, I'm getting blown out.
Well, no, because you always have your number one team. I mean, I am from Kansas, and I am a Kansas State fan. When Kansas State played Kentucky last year, yes, I am a Kentucky fan too, but I did root for Kansas State in the tournament last year because they are my number one team. So you
makes my blood boil, but he's right.
Yes,
and I hate him for it.
So
but
you have to have so you have to have a number one team. So Chris, who is it? Is it Kentucky or Michigan? Which Blue Nation are you?
Maize and Blue. I believe Maize and Blue. It's always gonna be Michigan.
Okay.
It's always.
And that's it, ladies. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. We are canceling this show forever. This is the last episode. Because what you really have.
You ask me a question. You got an answer.
Well, what you had to pull it out of you, though.
That's like when you ask your ex, do you still have feelings for him? And the answer is yes. Like, we can still move on.
Matthew, they always do, though. I don't know about you, but they always do.
We can. Well, I'm heartless. If it's in the past, you just live there. But I mean, we can. I just feel like what we have here is we have a diehard Kentucky fan with a diehard Kansas State and a diehard Michigan fan. We just all happen to live in the Kentucky adjacent area, and we happen. And my two co-hosts happen to be fond of the Kentucky team. That's truly what this show is.
Well, I'm
a huge Kentucky basketball fan. Always have been. Always have been.
All right. So speaking of that, we'll move on to Kentucky basketball.
Hey, I gave you a segue, and you can't even run with it, man.
I am running with it. I'm segueing right into it. I'm getting away from this conversation. I couldn't get further away from this conversation.
Yeah. Okay.
We played Texas A&M. We got to win by double digits. I'll take it. We got down 10-0. Then we got on our horse, and we actually, I think, went on like a 40-24 run if you take away those 10 points that they initially scored. We got a little sloppy in the second half, but still came out with it. What was your takeaway from this game? Chris, I'm going to start with you.
My takeaways from this game. Getting down by 10 early wasn't great. I was like, oh no, here we go again, another Alabama, which honestly, dude, I wasn't even ready for that game. I did not see Alabama playing that good.
Told you to watch out.
We did.
We told you to watch out for them.
Did not call it. I know, and I know y'all said it, and I know both y'all were like, well, watch out because here it comes. But I didn't believe it. Wouldn't have bought it for $1. Was not ready for it. But it came, and we lost. I was kind of seeing that happen again with this Texas A&M team. They're pretty good. Yeah, we had to have, what would you say, a 40-24 run to come back and beat them?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
You say that like we handled them. Once we got into the game, once it was 12-8, I was like, we're good.
Right. And I mean, I don't know if you've noticed that, but man, why does it takes us, a good 5 to 8 minutes to get in that.
It is always hard to get up against mediocre teams. It doesn't matter who you are. Like, it is always hard to get up for those mediocre games.
Yeah, but I mean, I've been noticing that a lot in the past few games. It's taken them, and sometimes, man, it might be too late. I mean, and it's not near as bad as it was that first game against Duke, where you could tell in the first 5 minutes that it was over. But I mean, come back, played good. We get these looks on these shots, man. We still can't hit them. Like, I mean, I don't know what's going on with that. Yeah, we beat them by double digits. That last shot there at the end, I know it probably affected Mike, but that buzzer beater that we gave him there, that half-court buzzer beater we gave him there at the end of the game, ruined a lot of people's pocketbooks.
It was a heck of a shot, though.
I just thought that was so funny because it was so unnecessary. Like, the game was literally over.
Yeah.
Like, ESPN said the game was over. Like, not only was the game over, like, in the sense of they can never come back, I mean, the coaches were shaking hands, and the ref was like, no.
I think the funniest thing ever, like, coach is like, or like Cal's like, what are you talking about? The game's not over. Like he was mad about it. Like, you could hear him yelling over the TV announcers and like everything.
Yeah, he was chewing. I think he was chewing. Who was he chewing out? He was chewing. I think he was chewing PJ out.
No, he was yelling at the ref because he told was it Higgins to just toss the ball up in the air. He's like, oh, that's my bad. But that
sounds like something Cal would do.
He was yelling at the refs, 100%.
So my takeaway on all of it, look, so my main thing is I didn't worry about the game. The announcers at the game tried to compare this to Seton Hall and Alabama. They tried to say, every time Kentucky's in a close game, they lose. The game reminded me much more of the UNC Greensboro game. They were out there fighting, and they were hitting some good shots, but you never really thought we were going to lose. You just thought it was going to look ugly, and we were going to pull it out. So I never really felt like we were going to lose that game. My thought is the bigger take on why everybody questions how this works. And Mike said it really well. It's hard to get up for mediocre teams. When you go into an opponent, and there's not a number by that name, when we're on the SEC network and we're not on CBS or ESPN or it's not March, it's hard to get excited.
Especially on a Tuesday night.
Exactly. At 7 o'clock tip-off. Don't even get me started on the 9 o'clock tip-off. But the thing I want to really drill in is people say, how do we lose to Bama on the road? How do we struggle against Texas A&M? A couple of years ago when we lost at Auburn before they kind of got good with Bruce Pearl, people said, how do we keep losing these games? Well, let me just throw a couple numbers at you. This is Kentucky's all-time record versus Alabama, 112 to 38. You mean to tell me you think that every kid who ever wears? You mean to tell me every kid that wears Alabama uniform does not know that? Is not aware of that record?
So we can withstand to lose a few?
But not even just stand it, but like an example. When the ball tips against Alabama, the team that you were like, I'm not even worried about it at all. We have beaten them 10 straight times. Everybody in the Kentucky uniform was like, I don't know what it's like to lose this team because no one in that uniform, probably no one on that coaching staff other than Cal, has lost to Alabama.
Exactly.
Everybody in Alabama's uniform has lost to Kentucky, except for that kid who came straight from high school, like the kid that's supposed to be a senior. Let me go even worse. Let's go Georgia. We got a road game at Georgia coming up, and I think we'll win it, but I think it'll be less than 5 points. Georgia, 126-26. We've beaten the University of Georgia 100 more times than they've beaten us. That's not hyperbole. That's not me being silly. That's fact. 100 more times than they've beaten us, we've beaten Georgia. So you mean to tell me that when Georgia comes up to Rupp, our fans are chewing on ice, like gum, licking some ice cream, playing on their cell phone, half asleep, but we go to Georgia.
It's going to be
I guarantee you those Georgia fans know we've beaten you 100 more times. I mean, that's when people are like, oh, how do we keep losing? South Carolina, we're 51-12 all time versus South Carolina. South Carolina, remember, for a long time, we played them twice a year. Now we play them every year. They're just one. They've only beaten us 12 times in 40 years. I'm pretty sure they know that a lot more than our guys do. And I don't care what you say, when you've beaten somebody so many times and you've never lost anybody. Just like, example, if Kentucky plays Duke again this year, bet you Kentucky comes in a lot more prepared than Duke does.
Yep.
Because Kentucky remembers. Those scars of losing by 34 are going to stick in your brain a lot better than that victory will. So you just got to realize when we play these mediocre SEC teams, these freshmen at Kentucky haven't experienced. They don't know anything about this life. But these fans, these seniors at these other schools, they remember. That's just all. I mean, I just get flustered when people are like, oh, we shouldn't be losing this. There's a reason we don't lose to Louisville very much. Because our players, like, oh, this game matters. It's not going to happen. You look at the losses we've experienced in the tournament, they're typically not against big teams. They're typically when 2014, you beat a undefeated Wichita State. You beat your rival Louisville. You beat a top-ranked Michigan. You beat a top-ranked Wisconsin. You get caught off guard by an under-ranked UConn team. It just happens. So the next time that you're thinking about making a prediction and saying, oh, it doesn't matter, I'm not worried at all, we're much better, this team struggled with them. What did you say? Who did you say Alabama struggled with? Northeast?
No, dude. What was that? Liberty. They barely beat Liberty.
Yeah, they barely beat Liberty.
And they had to have like a 24-0 run in I think it was the last 5 minutes of that Penn State game to come back and beat Penn State.
Well, let me tell you what. Alabama hasn't lost to Liberty 85 times.
Yeah, well, they beat us, man. I mean, they beat us.
You just have to know that's coming, but you have to have faith that when the ball tips and we're playing somebody that they mean it, we're going to be okay. I'm more, and we talked about this last week, me and Mike, when we were going through the predictions. I'm more confident going into Auburn and going into Tennessee than I am going into Vanderbilt, than going into Georgia. We can't overreact about losing to Bama. We can't overreact about struggling against Texas A&M team, which is really bad. Like, Texas A&M is not a good team.
Well, the only thing I'm going to overreact to, and the takeaway from this last game and the Alabama game, just like as well, is we do not stick with stuff that works. Like if you go to the Alabama game for example, that first 10 minutes of the game, we were going down in the post to Reed. I think he had 9 or 10 points, three or four boards, and he was dominating that Dante Hall guy. And then it's once that under 8 minute timeout hit, we started shooting threes. We totally abandoned the game in the post, and it is we shift gears, and then that's when kind of the game got a little out of hand. We shot 30%, and then that Dante Hall guy just went off. Now going to the Texas A&M game, it kind of happened again. We started, we found something that worked on that. Was it the 45-20 run? That stretch, and then we started shooting outside shots again, and that's when it kind of got stagnant and the game got close. And so, I kind of want to put a blame on Cal. He just needs to stick with something that is going to work. Going down to Reed. Yes, I know you got to get Hero in the game. Yes, I know Johnson is your leader. You got to get him in the game. But if something's working, keep beating that horse. Just keep beating that horse. That is going to be the biggest struggle moving forward. Because like if we go into Tennessee, say we're pounding the ball like inside, and Reed is pounding that what's that guy's name, Skull, just pounding him, gets 15, 20 points, and then in the second half we start shooting outside shots. Hero shoots 6 or 7 threes, hits 2. Hagen starts being passive aggressive and like not hitting the lanes hard, and then like all of a sudden we're down by 5 or 6. Like, why are we not sticking with Reed in the post if he's killing it? So that's my biggest takeaway, is we need to keep pounding on stuff that works. And right now, giving the ball to Reed Travis in the post and PJ in the post is working. Keep doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it does. I get that, and I wish we did that more. I just think the way the styles of plays that Cal runs gives that point guard an option. Yes. I think he lets them either dump it down or take the three, and you can see it because, like you said, when Cal's micromanaging, when Cal's like, you run this play, it is get the ball to this person who gets it down low. But then you can also tell when Cal says, hey, run this variation of a play, it almost turns into an NBA game. And in college, you can't play NBA style. Everybody wants this three. Yeah. Tyler Hero will jack one up. Then they'll get a rebound. They'll kick it out. Keldon Johnson will jack it up. Get another rebound. Kick it out. And then it'll be P.J. Washington, who has no reason to be really shooting threes. Yeah. He'll jack one up.
That was a crazy shot. No, he did not. That wasn't even close. That wasn't even a close shot.
But he hits it.
No, he really hasn't hit one in the last 2 or 3 games. I think he hit one in Louisville. But that's what I'm saying is they watch the NBA. They see three-pointers. They play 2K. They hit three-pointers. They go to practice. They hit three-pointers. And in games, you just don't have that many extra possessions. I feel like when I watch NBA, there's like a 20 to 25 wasted possessions. Like people are just messing around, shooting silly shots, acting like J.R. Smith. But in college, you take 3 bad possessions, you might be down 10 points.
Exactly.
And that's what's scary. And that's why I'm very curious to see Tyler Hero. And I'm going to get a prediction right now, and I hope this isn't true, but I wouldn't be surprised if Tyler Hero leaves after this year, gets drafted somewhere late first round, early second round, and in like 2 or 3 years, the kid is just balling like crazy. He's just absurdly good. And Kentucky fans are they're just going to be scratching their head. How's this kid so good? How's he so great? And it's because the NBA allows him to miss 3 shots, and then still hit 10. The NBA allows him to dribble around, pull up a crazy 3, hit it, get going. College basketball doesn't really allow you to do it.
Spoiler alert.
You airball a shot or 2, and then get back and don't play defense, you're on the bench in college. In the pros, the coach is probably asleep. I mean, to be honest with you, he probably didn't even notice, unless it came in like the last 10 seconds. But if you do that in the second quarter, that coach doesn't care.
Spoiler alert. He gets drafted by Golden State, and they add a fifth 3-point shooter on a team, and they are averaging, 125 points per game with 17 dribbles per game.
Look, if I'm Tyler Hero, and I'm just saying this, if I'm this kid, I'm not a Kentucky fan. I'm just this kid, whatever he is. If I get to go into these camps and these tryouts that Cal's going to send me to at the end of the year, and everybody's like, "Oh man, you're going 25 or later," I'm going because who's picking 25 or later?
Golden State,
the Rockets, Golden State, the Raptors,
Lakers,
the Celtics, and that could be the Lakers. The Lakers with LeBron. Teams that's going to want you to stand in the corner or dribble and shoot a bunch of 3-pointers.
Yep.
You're going to be okay with that. If you're Tyler Hero, you don't want to go top 10 because that means you're just going to miss a bunch of shots and be hated. You want to go to Golden State. So,
i.e. Kevin Knox.
That's a different. I think Kevin Knox is better overall than Tyler Hero. But to that point, I think the NBA game lends itself to Kevin Knox's style, where I'm just going to do this, and if I miss, nobody's mad at me. If Kevin Knox has a 0 for 10 night, no one cares. Well, the Knicks don't care. Madison Square Garden is still packed with just people flirting. But
Right,
you come
Spike
to
Lee's still
Kentucky,
going to be there.
yeah, you go to Kentucky and you have a 2 for 8 night and we lose. It's everywhere.
We are mad because you
so-
went 8 for 9 on the foul line and we lost by 2.
Yeah. Or then, but what happens is, so the next night when Kevin Knox comes out for the Knicks and shoots 20 shots and scores 50 points, everybody's from Kentucky. But why didn't we have that here? Well, he really didn't have the leash. He didn't really have we didn't really give him the green light to shoot 50 shots.
And he was out of shape.
So,
let's be honest.
I mean, so that's a very interesting point you make there, Mike. Was he? So when I think out of shape, I always, in my mind, when I hear out of shape, I hear you were in shape, and then you got out of shape.
Well, you
and
never
now
got
you're
in
back
shape
it.
then. Yeah.
I just wonder if you're in shape, but then when you get to the NBA, because that's your life, that's 12 days, that's 365 days a year, you're in even more shape.
Right.
Like there's I do this for 6 months a year, and then there's, hey, this is my full-time job.
True.
So we do have a game Saturday night, 8:30, home versus Vandy. Mike, give me some takeaways. Give me something to look forward to.
What I'm really hoping for is if we find something and stick to it the whole game, and I don't care if that's Higgins, shooting that gap on the lane, passing out to Hero for like a 3, or giving it on a give and go to PJ. Just find something that works, and I want to stick to it the whole game. Have a complete game. Like, I don't care if it gets ugly, because we are going to have that 5 to 7 minute stretch where it is ugly. We're tired or sluggish or just losing focus because we're up by 12. We're going to have that stretch, but during that stretch, I don't want to deviate from what we've been doing all game and what is going to work. So that's the biggest takeaway that I want to see, is for us to put a complete game together, find a play that works, and kind of stick to it, beat that horse, ride it till the end. That's what I really want to see.
Mike, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So you're right. When we start going, like Tyler Hero and Keldon Johnson, when they start jacking up the threes, Ashton Higgins it quickly, when they start throwing up those crazy shots, some go in, some don't, but it creates a rhythm.
True.
A lot,
what if these kids,
a lot don't.
Well, I know, but for the kids themselves, what if Tyler Hero and Keldon Johnson, who I think are two of the most important players on our team,
I agree.
what if them kicking the ball down low all game just doesn't really inspire them? And I'm not saying this is perfect, because in a perfect world you could do both. But let's just say because if you look in games where Keldon Johnson kind of disappeared, Seton Hall into the final 10 seconds, he really wasn't doing anything on offense or defense. So are you ready to lose the energy and the effort on defense if that's what you have to sacrifice on offense? Yeah, we might be unstoppable on offense with Travis Reed and PJ, but if we're a liability and giving up everything on defense, to you, is that worth it? Is that okay?
Well,
what's your thoughts on just that whole thing?
Well, let me kind of straighten this arrow a tad bit more. Just because I want you to give the ball down to PJ or to Reed or Nick every play, that doesn't mean that they can, because like once a play starts to work, they will start to double team that. And then Reed is a great passer. As soon as he feels that second guy coming down on him, he can kick it back out to Hero and he can shoot the 3. But the key there is to get that ball down in there, and so the player has a chance to come down on him. So you do have that wide open 3 or that that easy 18-foot shot. So. And then as far as not giving effort on the defensive side, Tyler Hero doesn't really give a lot of effort on the defensive side anyways. So he does in spurts. Like, he does in spurts.
No.
So
no.
that's
He
about
gives
it.
effort. I just don't think he's a good
Yeah, he gives effort, but no. I mean, Mike's right. It spurts, man. It spurts. I've noticed it too. It's not. If everybody on this team played defense like Ashton Higgins, we would never have to talk about defense ever again.
We would also be tired, though.
Yeah, but if every quarterback in the world could throw like Tom Brady, you wouldn't need Terry Wilson, but sometimes there's skill versus will. Now, we have a lot of guys on this team and other teams where it's will. They just don't really want to do it that time.
Well,
but sometimes it's just skill. Sometimes Tyler Hero's just not as good of a defender as Ashton Hagee.
And you're right.
I don't know if anybody's really that good.
And that's not why we recruited Tyler. I mean, that's not.
Okay.
So now you're not going to defend me, are you? Okay, I see it.
No, I mean I was, but on the other hand, dude, I'm just saying both sides of the fence here. Now, but on the other hand, that's not really one of his strong points with his defense. I mean, he's a shooter. We need him to shoot. He does shoot, but we need him to hit that. He takes a lot of shots, man. And yeah, I mean he'll shoot, 9, 10 threes a game, but only hit 4, 5 maybe if we're lucky.
Well, that's shooting
so
pretty good from the arc.
So what happens if, to Mike's point, we have them touch Mike? What happens if we have them doing what you're doing? Let's just say for the first 20 minutes, Reed Travis and P.J. Washington and Nick Richards, whoever, B.J. Montgomery, whoever's in down there is getting whatever they want. And
right.
Then they start doubling. Like you said, it's going to happen. It happens.
Then you kick it out.
And we start kicking it out.
Yep.
What if at that point we're in no shooting rhythm and we don't hit the three? Because we basically taken none in the first half and we're expected to turn it on in the second half. These kids are still 18, 19.
You're right.
I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying because it is very frustrating when you see P.J. Washington do whatever he wants and then he doesn't touch the ball for like 10 minutes.
So here is what I would do. Yes, shooters go in slumps, but this is when Coach Cal comes into play, and he needs to basically be a great coach. When he sees that second guy going down on Reed, going down on PJ or like Nick, you need to get another big body in there. So kind of play like a 3-post type of guy. So you have Reed, PJ, and Nick all on the court at the same time, and then you have Hero and Johnson. Put Hero at the point and put Johnson at the 2. So we have more rebounders in there. So for a second chance shot. So if the 3 doesn't go down, we get a rebound. We kick it back out to Hero, set it back the offense, and just repeat.
Now, I will say the Alabama game, and I'm not one to blame stuff on the ref because I'm not a ref. I didn't have the training, and I don't have the eye. But it was very discouraging when our guy would get knocked to the ground. And like I said, I didn't see it in slow motion. I don't know if it was all ball, but our guy would Reed Travis and PJ get knocked to the ground, and it would lead to a breakaway run for Bama. But the moment their guy went to the ground, it instantly resulted in free throws.
That's that home cooking.
So I don't want to blame it on refs because, like I said, I don't have the eye. Shoot, maybe theirs was off ball and ours was truly fouled. But I think it gets discouraging because now you start going to the line weak because you try to start avoiding that contest or that contact, and it's going to be a horrible shot. That's what I think happened in Bama. Texas A&M might have think things like, oh, we're better than this team. We can outshoot you. And they got away from PJ because when PJ got the ball, the final 5 minutes, the kid was unstoppable.
Yeah.
So
just like how Reed was. Yeah. Chris, go ahead.
Predictions. You make any predictions here? What do we got for Saturday's game? Chris?
Oh, you don't want to know what I'm looking for in the game?
Yeah,
sure. What are you looking forward to on the game?
No, man. Okay, no. Hey, previews.
Tell me what Michigan's going to do. Tell me what your true love's going to do.
Michigan's playing Illinois right now, so.
True love. Look,
anyway,
Chris, you've broken my heart.
Okay. I'll make mine short and quick since I really don't matter here, so I'll just make mine short and quick. I'm looking for can Ashton keep doing what he's doing? I think his offense is starting to kind of catch up with his defense. And, I mean, that should kind of scare some people because this dude, I mean, his defense is crazy. He's amazing.
I don't think he will ever be like that 10, 12-point scorer. He kind of reminds me of a Steve Nash a little bit. He's going to push that lane and then kick it out. Shooting that.
His defense is great. I love watching this guy play. He's so much fun to watch play.
You're right.
But I hope he can keep doing it, and I'd like to see his offense get better. But if he can keep playing like he's playing, he's going to be fine, man. I don't like how Reed Travis, man, he has only had 10 total rebounds in the last 2 games. 10 rebounds. And he's our big, right? I mean, we consider him our big.
Yeah, true.
I mean, those. I'm going to quote, Matthew McConaughey here, and those are rookie numbers, man. Like, he needs to step those up. 10 rebounds in 2 games. That's not for him to be our big and to be this highly prolific guy that we are all putting him out to be. That's got to get better. Like, our really. I think we've been out rebounded almost every game that we've played. I'm pretty sure, maybe other than the Louisville game, and I think the North Carolina game. But other than that, every game we play, we've been out rebounded. I'd like to see that change. I don't like that at all. We got to get better on the board, especially with Reed. And kind of to piggyback a little bit what Mike was saying, the effort, like a full 40-minute effort, would be great. We don't need to get lackadaisical and be like, oh, hey, if we do get up 8, 9, 10, whatever, then we can't get lackadaisical and just be like, oh, it's Vanderbilt. We're up 10, whatever, we're going to win. And then that's when they go on a fucking 12-2 run and it's over with,
Mike, who leaves this man out? He's crazy. He's over here cussing like a maniac.
Yeah.
That's right, like a sailor. Y'all done pissed me off, so y'all got me all cussing and stuff.
I can see this.
For the record, I think I'm the only one putting Reed Travis up on that little stand because,
he has been.
So,
but the man's already mad, so I don't want to risk making him more mad. But we've only been out rebounded twice the entire season, Duke and Bama. We're actually averaging 10 more rebounds than our opponent. And the reason I think that is yes, Reed Travis is getting less and less rebounds. But I think the reason that is because we know who Reed Travis is. The man's 25 years old. Like, he's reached the peak of his career in college. Like, we know what he's going to do. He struggles to dunk at times. Like, he's not a real big jumper. But I think what's happening is the smaller guys who's got a whole lot of gas left in the tank are learning how to rebound better. Like, over the last 5 games, I feel like Tyler Hero's got to be leading, like, the top 3 in the team in rebounds. Yeah. Keldon Johnson's coming up with a lot of boards. Ashton Hagans is really coming up, even coming up with some rebounds. So I think Reed Travis was there at the beginning when everybody was lost and they didn't know how to play college ball, when Tyler Hero was like, I don't want to get hurt. But now that he's developing, he's like, I can do this. You're seeing his numbers go up because we've really out-rebounded all the teams except for Bama, and we was leading them a lot.
We've been out-rebounded in our last 2 games. We've been out-rebounded.
I don't think – did Texas A&M out-rebounded?
Both games.
Are you sure about this?
100%.
Let's look at this.
Either
– I thought we –
yeah.
I mean –
and if you look, Vandy's +5 in rebound. I mean, that's something. I mean, that's something that could come into play.
It could.
But so here's what's going to happen, Chris. You said you didn't want this to happen, but it's going to happen. It's these kids. We're going to get up 10 and we're going to act silly. We're going to get up 10.
We can't do that.
But I don't think Vanderbilt. You can't do that to win championships. But Vanderbilt's okay. They're missing their best player towards ACL. I mean, their best player's out. I mean, I'm not saying you should sleep on this team, but I think this team's got that fire that, well, hey, we're up 12. Look at us acting silly. Oh, crap, we're only up 6. Okay, we're going back up 12 again. I just think that's the team that we have, especially against lesser. It scares the crap out of me against Tennessee and Auburn. But Vandy, especially since Darius Darling went down, I'm not as scared. I'm scared when we go to Vandy because their fans will definitely let you hear it.
And that court.
But I think at Rupp we're fine.
That court.
I kind of like how the court is there at Vandy. That's kind of cool.
I don't like it. It scares me.
I think it's kind of cool.
It's a Coliseum, right? Like that's the whole thing about it. Like they want it to look weird on purpose. Because if you look at
the court sits up off the ground. It's like 4 foot up off the ground.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, if you look at the entire thing, like the benches are at the end zone or at the under the goals.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure there's one area with no wall. Like, it's just like a big cafeteria.
It's like a high school gym.
I find that very weird. That's why I think if you notice, the shooting goes down tremendously when you play in gyms like that, or in like these football fields that they put a basketball court on, because you're used to having like a wall for perspective. Sorry. Well, when you play in a football stadium, there's nothing but 50 yards of grass and bleachers, so you see right through it.
Yeah.
But all right, anybody got any closing thoughts? We have hit our hour. I told Mike we wouldn't, but we did.
So,
anybody got any closing thoughts?
Yeah, my closing thoughts here. Let me go, Chris. Jesus, let me go. Let me go first. The Kentucky Lady Cats are playing right now. They are ranked number 13th in the nation. I do believe. So, like when Matthew, about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, Kentucky sports are doing great things, guys. Like we had the archery, we had the gymnastics, football, basketball, ladies basketball, baseball. Kentucky sports, that's where it's at right now, guys. Live it, love it.
You beat me to it, Mike. I was actually going to say something else about, we have a dual sport, a new like dual threat, dual sport player. I don't know if you guys know this, but he is a football player.
Yes, we do.
Cash Daniels. This guy he just got vocal about this, and he is now a two-sport athlete. And a lot of people wouldn't put him in this other sport, but this happens to be one of my favorite things to do. He's also on Kentucky's bass fishing team. I don't know if y'all fish at all or follow
Been known to drown a worm, too.
or follow it on ESPN or anything. But here recently, in the past couple of years, they've BASS and NCAA have kind of come together to, like, each school now has like a collegiate bass fishing team. They actually go out to tournaments.
That's cool.
Yeah, they actually go out. They go out to tournaments. They do all this stuff, man. And it's actually gotten so big now that a lot of area high schools. I love to fish. It's probably one of my most favorite things to do, other than sit here and argue with you guys. But Cash is now part of Kentucky's collegiate bass fishing team. So we got a two-sport all-star.
There we go.
I do think it's funny that they mentioned that the kid from Texas A&M was on the bass fishing team, and then the next day Cash Daniels joined. It's almost like he didn't know that even existed.
Right.
But then when he heard that the kid at Texas A&M was doing, he was like, "Hey, I want to be a part of that," because that was what he did. What was the thing? What was the game he went to, and he took his fishing pole? He went to one of the games. I don't think it was the bowl game. He went to a game earlier this season. It was Texas A&M. He went down there when we played them, and he took his fishing pole, and he went fishing the morning of the game. I remember that making some news.
There we go.
Well, Chris, if you got a rant, you can. Apparently you're mad. But
No.
I'm going to make you even more mad because
Of course you are.
I'm petty like this. We
You are.
out-rebounded Texas A&M 28-27, so they did not out-rebound us. I have spoken.
It just felt like it because we were missing like a lot of shots, and they were missing like a lot of shots, I guess, maybe in that little span. So, I do think in the early in that game, they were killing us in all aspects of the game. So,
yeah.
So, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Championship.
ESPN.
All right. ESPN is known to lie a time or two.
Yeah, damn it, ESPN.
Man,
all right, well, there it is. That's it. I told Mike we wasn't. Everybody's mad. I told Mike we wasn't going to go over an hour. We went over an hour.
Hey, guys.
Chris is mad about
it's a great show, though. Like, we are okay to go as long as we want, as long as it's productive. People are staying tuned to us. And if you guys are, be sure to let us know in the comments here on iTunes, on iHeartRadio, Spotify, etc. Let us know how we're doing. If you like us just going as long as we want, we'll do it for you guys. No worries.
You heard the man. We'll do it for you guys. That's it. Matthew Lyle, host, the true UK fan, a Kansas State fan, and a Michigan State fan to my right and my left. We are out. Thank you for joining Big Blue Breakdown with a little bit of maize and blue and whatever color Kansas State is. We're out.
Go Cats.